Joining us to preview this upcoming season as the team continues their summer workouts is head coach Zach Hilbers. Coach, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, of course. Good morning. Good to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you on as you get ready for this upcoming season. It's an interesting time of the year because now we're starting to see the whole football world start to wake up as we approach the fall. The Lions started training camp this week. Your team's been doing workouts throughout the summer, and you're doing your summer workouts now, I understand, on Fridays through August when you can start having those more formal practices. How does this time of the year start to change the dynamics in your locker room with your players as they get ready for the school year and, of course, the football season?
Yeah, I mean, you probably described it the right way. The dynamics definitely change. And, it's funny. We kind of always get in this mentality, at least like, football coaches, where, we're allowed to do some stuff in the spring, not football related, but, you can lift and run and condition and stuff like that. So do small group workouts. So we could do it just because you get excited. And going from spring to summer, you're basically just kind of waiting for that calendar to turn so you can do a little bit more. And, so all summer we've been doing what we're supposed to, just doing a little bit more, adding and building and trying to get better. And now we're in that similar boat. Like we just want that calendar to turn to second week of August this year. We can kind of really get after it and start our training camp. And it's, it's a delicate balance because like I'm of the belief, like enjoy the present, enjoy every day, enjoy the process. But at the same time, like, we're pretty excited to get to, I guess, that next turning of the page, which is a couple weeks away.
And it's tough, too, as you're getting ready to not look back at your success from last season and look forward to this season, the schedule you have, the talent you have coming back, and think, much like the Detroit Lions as they start their training camp and they look back on being inches away from the Super Bowl and your team being literally one play goes your way, you are in the state championship game. So how do you balance that as you get ready for a season? And much like the Lions, use that as motivation of we can get back there, but we got to work really hard right now to make that happen.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Like you use it as motivation, or at least you try to, but you also have to really drive home like this understanding that like, we were 2 seconds away, like you mentioned, but there's no guarantee you're ever going to be in that situation again. Like it's so hard just to get to, where we got last year. So if you want to be, one play better and get like one step closer to your goals, like you got to work really hard, and I think like the way the last season ended for us being so close, kind of like you mentioned with the Lions, you think like, oh, we're just, that close. If we do that much more, it's like, you have to do this much just to get it the opportunity to do that much more. And, dealing with kids, you really have to drive that point home almost weekly. It's all these days out here when it's hot and we're out here running and sweating, like it's just to get an opportunity to make that extra play.
Yeah, it's tough, too, because in the state of Michigan, as football continues to grow and expand and become much like it is in Texas and in California and in Florida, where it is the big game of the year, the big season of the year, it's tough for people to sometimes take that step back and remember that these are kids still learning the game.
Yeah.
So how does that also factor in as you're not only teaching kids the game, but you're also developing players that are really, really talented at this level of their football career?
It's something I learned as I've been doing this for a while now, maybe 15 years ago or so, is when you had really talented players who were younger. So they're high school kids, they're all young, but like younger. Sometimes you get a really talented 15-year-old. And for some reason, when we're adults, we think like, wow, they're so advanced in this part of their life. They should be advanced in other parts, whether it's maturity or, just handling adverse situations, all that stuff. And a lot of times that's not the case. Like you have to teach those skills or they have to go through stuff to learn them like we all do. And it's a good, like refreshing lesson every year. That's like, you can be really good, but like you said, that they're kids and they go through the same stuff that all their kids do and their heads are all over the place. And we do our best to try to, like you said, get them pointed in the right direction, teach them some values, and then also like hopefully become better football players. And if we do it right, I think it can all coincide. Like all the goals can align in the same direction if done the right way. But it's always like it's a delicate balance because it's you want to push them as hard as you can towards our common goal, but also have the understanding like a lot of these guys are young and they're just like figuring it out. I'll be the first to say like I was an idiot when I was 16 years old. So a lot of them are a lot further along than I am. But like it is always like a delicate balance for sure.
We're joined by Zach Hilbers, the head coach of the West Bloomfield Lakers varsity football team. Their season kicks off August 29th at 7 o'clock. That's a Thursday game. Family fun night from 5 to 7 before that at Lakers Stadium against Clinton Township. Chippewa Valley will have coverage for you on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM leading up to the game and the game itself as well on that Thursday night before Labor Day weekend. And Coach, as we talk about that day coming up and we think about the last couple of seasons and much, again, like the Lions in Detroit and the support they have as their team continues to regain some sense of success. Your team has been in that mode for a number of years. How does the community support not only help you and your coaching staff continue to build this program, but also help those players have that extra layer of motivation as they go through what, again, is looking like a very tough schedule this year?
Yeah, schedule will be really hard, and it definitely helps quite a bit to have the community support. We've had pretty good support the last few years. Probably the last 10 or 12 years from our community, and it makes a difference. Just when you show up to home games, and you have people there like that, are have your back. I guess that are fans. They're supporting you, and the family fun night's always been an awesome event. This is the first time I think that I can ever remember. It's our first game of the year, and it just kind of went with how the schedule went for us and our way our home games were spaced out. So we hope that it's a really big event again, and it's awesome for kids. Our district does a great job bringing like all the elementary schools together for that one, and it's usually really well attended. And I think it could be a real cool like kind of cute, culmination to everyone's summer. You know what I mean? Like we are going to be back in school that week as a district, but it's that first week goes by in a blur. It's a 4-day week, and it's kind of, I don't know, just getting everybody back in the mode of going to school, hopefully. So hopefully it's another great event, and, people are there in full force.
Yeah, it really shows the full scope of our community from all these different organizations and all the different clubs in the school. And then you get to see a great football game and one of the prides of our community in the West Bloomfield Lakers football team. Again, August 29th, 7 o'clock kickoff for the football game. Family Fun Night will begin at 5 o'clock and run right up to just before that game. And Coach, before we let you go, I want to circle back to something we mentioned earlier on in our show, the day that you and I have been interviewing. Donovan Edwards, Dylan Tatum, Makari Page, all featured at Big Ten Media Days earlier on this week. We heard some clips of Dylan talking about his relationship with Donovan, Makari Page talking about the competition between Michigan and Ohio State, and Donovan Edwards taking a step forward, continuing to be an advocate for both student and athlete and general mental health. How are those role models setting the tone for your team today of what it takes to be a great Laker, but also be a great football player and young man going forward?
I mean, we're really fortunate to have a lot of guys playing football at the next level that people can turn on their TVs and watch. But to have like those three specifically that you mentioned, that are obviously really good football players, but there's a reason they were selected by their teams to be up there and represent their schools. At media day, I'm pretty sure each school only brought 3 players, out of a team of whatever it is, 85. And that's because they just do stuff the right way. I mean, Makari has been like that since I can remember him. Like he came in as just a quiet, like as a 14-year-old kid, like a quiet, hardworking kid that just, frankly, just did everything right. Everything. He was a model student, polite, worked his tail off in every capacity, and it's been awesome. And, Dylan was a lot of that way too. And Donovan was probably the hardest worker we've had as a football player. And, his maturity process the last 6, 7, 8 years has been unbelievable to see. And I mean, they're there for a reason. So our kids definitely look up to those guys. Like they reach out to me and say, "Hey, did you see it?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I saw it." Like I was watching it, and any of us that coach them, because it's been a lot of us since those guys came in as freshmen, like we're all proud of them. And, we just hope that they just keep going forward with, football or whatever their life goals are.
Yeah, so many great Laker legends are going to be playing at a high level this year and being impact players. We talk about Makari and Donovan, and we talk about Dylan Tatum. Samaj Morgan also expected to be a big pivotal player this year. Amir Herring moving on to Kansas. Maxwell Hairston, best hands in the land over at Kentucky, going to be one of the top D-backs in the entire country. So plenty to be proud of for Lakers as they look at Laker Nation as they look at the college football season, professional football, and of course, close to home with our high school team. Coach, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.